Hello YouTubers, Alaska Prepper here. Ladies and gentlemen, let me start off by telling you that if you celebrate Thanksgiving, take a look at the video that I put up earlier today. It seems like there's going to be a few things in shortage this year that's already occurring that you may want to get now instead of waiting till right before Thanksgiving. But let's go ahead and get to our news because I've got a lot of news to cover today. Now, should you be afraid of this Russian Poseidon nuclear submarine or nuclear torpedo that everyone seems to be talking about on the internet? Or at least I've seen a lot of sites that is what they're talking about. So from what I understand, this torpedo can go underwater, obviously, undetected, and it could be detonated and create a tidal wave that's radioactive and that's like 1,000 meters or 1,000 feet high or something like that. And a lot of people are afraid of this. And my question to you is should you be afraid of this? Or why should you be afraid of this? So I have two answers to that. I believe that you should be afraid of this in one scenario and that you shouldn't be afraid of it in another. First one being is that, well, let me tell you a story first, right? And this actually happened. It happened before any of this torpedo news started coming out. My daughter and I were in our backyard and she was helping me, pick stuff up. I remember this movie that I watched and I forget the darn name of it. I think it's called Deep Impact, where like a meteor hits the earth or something like that. It's an older movie. And it just came to mind and I asked my daughter while we were standing there, I said, what if we saw a tidal wave right now in the distance that was like 5 miles high and we knew that there was absolutely nothing that we could do? What would you do? And she said, what would you do? And she's old enough for me to have this conversation with, right? She's almost 16 years old. But she asked me, what would you do? I said, well, what I would do is if I had time, I would make sure that you and me and your mom, that we were all together, and our pets as well. And hopefully Victor would be here and everything. I said, because there would be absolutely nothing that we could do about it. It's going to go ahead and end our lives. That's what would happen. What's the likelihood of that happening? Probably very, very, very slim, right? Depending on what geological time frame we're in when these things tend to happen on the Earth, which the last time that a meteor hit it of a size that was like a life-ending event was millions and millions of years ago. And at least that's what the textbooks tell us, right? And I said, there's nothing you can do. And should you be afraid of it? Yes, you should be afraid of it if you're not prepared. In that case, if you are not prepared with your faith, if you have faith, and even people that don't have faith, and their faith is that they don't have faith. So hopefully they're comfortable with the lives that they've led. But if you are prepared with your faith, if you are good with your maker, whoever you call your maker, whoever you call your God, then you're going to be all right. You have nothing to be afraid of. But let's talk about this Poseidon torpedo, right? It can cause havoc on the coast of any country where they employ it toward, right? So let's say, for example, that this happened on the east coast of our country here in the United States. Would I be afraid of it? Absolutely not. I would not be afraid of it. Should you be afraid of it? If you lived in the East Coast, then you should be afraid of it if you are not prepared spiritually. All right, ladies and gentlemen? Because there's nothing that you can do about it. If it happens, it happens. Absolutely nothing that you can do about it at that point, with the exception of being prepared spiritually. Now, let's say that you live in an area outside of the impact zone where it wasn't going to directly affect you. It is still going to affect you. It's going to affect you in a major way. If something like that happened, I would imagine that all supply chains would stop. I mean, especially here in Alaska, speaking for myself and my family, I would expect to get absolutely nothing back into the state for a very long time, right? Because this would be a disaster of a magnitude that we've never, ever experienced. I mean, you could probably take all of the other disasters and put them together, and it would be smaller compared to something like this happening. So should we be afraid of that happening, let's say in the East Coast of the United States, even though we live here and we know that supplies wouldn't be coming over here? Why would you be afraid if you're prepared? So you see, ladies and gentlemen, what I'm trying to get at is this. I see a lot of energy being expanded. And of course, anyone can talk about anything they want to, right? But I see a lot of energy being expanded. And I know that people in general are probably very scared of this. and maybe getting a little bit of anxiety over this. Don't get anxiety over this, because there's nothing that you can do. If they deploy this thing, they deploy it. What can you do about it if you're in the impact zone? Absolutely nothing, except to be prepared with your maker. What can you do about it if you're outside the impact zone and you know that supply chains are going to be disturbed for a very long time? Be prepared. You don't have to be afraid of it in any way whatsoever. I can tell you right now with certainty that if I saw a 5-mile tsunami headed my way, I would be like, oh man, my experience in this physical earth is going to be over in a few seconds. So prepare in every way that you possibly can. That's all that you can do. But being afraid of this kind of stuff, there's no sense in it. Stop giving up that energy. Use that energy that you're using up with fear. Use that instead to prepare and to live your life to the fullest, and to have a good relationship with your maker, and also with your family and your friends and the community around you. All right, so that's what I have to say about this, because I've been hearing a lot about this. I've been seeing a lot of news articles about this, and a lot of people are talking about how terrible it would be. It would be terrible. There would be a lot of lives lost should this happen. And if it happened where you live, there's nothing you can do about it. I guarantee you right now that there's nothing that you can do about it if this does happen. European farmers see writing on the wall with energy crisis. Food shortages are a certainty. So here, the European farmers are seeing what's going to happen. And they've been warning us for a while, all right? And what I mean by us, I mean us too. Even us here in the United States. Because what's happened with fuel prices and the availability of fuel in Europe, right? It's gone down a lot, right? That they've had to do rationing, and they are doing rationing. They're looking forward to have a pretty harsh winter with rationing energy and all that kind of stuff. And therefore, here in the United States, we've been exporting a lot of energy to them, making the prices for everything here go up even higher. Well, what happens when Europe starts having food shortages? Same thing, ladies and gentlemen. They're going to start rationing. We're going to start sending them more from here if we have it, making prices here go up. So we've been warned. So I hope that you've been preparing all along. And if you are new to the channel, if you're new to our community over here, and you're not preparing, then heed the warning. I would advise you to go and do your own research. That way you can convince yourself that there will come a time where there will be shortages, and there will come a time where you and your family will need whatever preps you gathered. All right, so do it now, ladies and gentlemen. The writing is on the wall. Just like they say here, the writing is on the wall. Food shortages are a certainty. And we've not only been hearing it from farmers in Europe, we've been hearing it from farmers right here in the United States of America. So heed the warning. I'm going to leave the link to all of these articles here on a pinned comment. That way you can revisit them if you like. All right. I don't want to read over every single article. Again, in case you are new here, I don't like to read over the whole thing. Every once in a while, I'll pick a spot here and there to go over with, but I usually just like to warn you of what is coming and what is being said by actual farmers, right? And this site here is Natural News, and it is authored by Mr. Adams, Mike Adams, who is a scientist and in my opinion is a patriot and a good person. So if you want to come on over here and check out his work, by all means. I actually have another article here to show you. European telecommunications network may go offline this winter due to energy crisis. How are these sanctions working now? How are these sanctions working now, ladies and gentlemen? Now here they are facing their telecommunications networks to go offline. Who is this going to hurt the most? It's going to hurt the working class the most. Why? I guarantee you that the wealthy or the rich, whatever you want to call them, I guarantee you that they can afford to pay a subscription to a satellite service where they can still interact with whomever they want to call via that network. But for the rest of the people, for the rest of the peasants, this is what sanctions does. It hurts you, the average people, more so than anyone else, because you are the target. Sanctions target the average working class. Sanctions never really target the wealthy. Do you really think that those, whatever they're called, oligarchs that they said, that they sanctioned these oligarchs from Russia, that they took their yachts? Do you really think that they're suffering because they took their yachts? Who are the real people suffering here? Ironically, it is the people of those countries that are imposing the sanctions. So sanctions never work, and I will always stick by that. It's always the people that hurt. In addition to those things that are going to be in a shortage come this November for Thanksgiving, Hurricane Ian, as you can see here, was very rough on the citrus crops. And I was thinking about that as well during the hurricane. Obviously, I don't live in Florida, but while the hurricane was happening, I was like, man, it's going to wipe out their oranges over there. But it says here, first Florida orange crop reports points to disaster. The first crop damage estimates are in for Florida's citrus groves following Hurricane Ian last week, and they point to utter devastation in certain parts of the state, sending orange juice prices Monday to almost 6 years high. And they say here that at Highlands County Citrus Growers Association said that 20 to 80% of the fruit was damaged depending on location. So if you drink orange juice, ladies and gentlemen, go get yourself some of those frozen little containers that has the concentrated orange juice in them. We use them every once in a while and they taste just fine. However, this is not life-ending, but it will be very serious times for those farmers that were depending on that income. And as I've often stated before, ladies and gentlemen, anything that you own that is a paper asset can go to zero anytime, just like the people that owned these insurance policies. 6 property insurers declare bankruptcy after Hurricane Ian. So you really cannot trust paper. Right? And that's what an insurance policy is paper. They take your money and they give you a piece of paper that says, we're going to provide you this if this happens, as long as you pay us this much every month. Well, you can't even trust that. The insurance industry is not doing so well, as the 6 insurance companies so far this year declared insolvency. State regulators in Florida have asked a judge to place a property insurance company in receivership following Hurricane Ian. The Florida Department of Financial Services is seeking to be the appointed. So more than likely, the people that had insurance through these insurance policies, they'll probably get something, but definitely they're not going to be made whole, which is really, really unfortunate. Ladies and gentlemen, let me cover this really quick. I've gotten a few emails from people in Florida that need help, and I can't help everyone. That's just a fact, all right? I just made a contribution to someone that I know that's in Florida, that's, doing the things down there, helping out their people down there, and that's the way it should be. And I can do that because it's going to serve a lot of people, right? They're going to be feeding a lot of people. However, I cannot be helping people on a personal basis, like, hey, okay, I'll send you this. I can't do that. It's impossible. So this is what I can do. If you live in Florida and you're affected to the point where you need outside help, send me your story and send me a link to like a GoFundMe or GiveSendGo account that you or someone else has set up for you, and I'll be more than happy to put on the description of my videos and also on a pinned comment and mention it during a video. Many hands make little work, ladies and gentlemen, so therefore if there are people that are in a position where they can help, I'm sure that we can help that way. But don't stop sending me your stories. The problem is I don't really look at my email every single day. But if I see something on there and you've taken the time to go ahead and open up a GiveSendGo or a GoFundMe page, then I will take the time to make sure that I talk about it on a video and put your link on a pinned comment. If I catch your email, I cannot guarantee you that I will. And the last one that I'm going to go over today, ladies and gentlemen, goes back to that sanctions don't work, and the European nation is finding this out, unfortunately. Germans panic buy electric heaters as authorities warn of winter gas shortages. It's going to be a very difficult winter this year, not only for Germany, not only for the EU, but for the world as a whole. I believe that the shortages that we have going into this winter are probably bigger than the shortages that we had last winter, especially in fuel, and the prices of things are a lot more than what they were this time last year. You still have time to prepare. If you're not of means, get the staples. Get those things that you eat every day. Stock up on them. Try to stock up on canned foods. Try to stock up on fuel. Do it now because winter is rapidly approaching. And winter, it doesn't care where you live. It doesn't care what your nationality, religion, sex, all that stuff is. It doesn't care. It's going to be winter whether we like it or not. So prepare now. Having said that, I hope you got something out of this. Again, I'll leave the link to all of these articles down on a pinned comment. I hope that you have a great day, ladies and gentlemen. We will talk to you tomorrow. So having said that, remember to be good to each other. When good people do good things happen. Remember to reach one, teach one, and repeat. If we all did this, the world would be a better place, and you know that it will be a better place. Many blessings to all of you and your families. I'm Alaska Prepper. Michael, say, I'm Michael, and we are out.